Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for watching. Tonight, Windsor's unemployment rate is down, but for many, still a challenge to find work. Plus, as the community celebrates a new rainbow crosswalk, there's also sadness that intolerance continues to persist. The downtown mission is doing its part to be a good neighbor with a cleanup day to improve things for the community. And calling all you Swifties. Many of you have tickets to see your favorite artist just across the river. Others celebrated Taylor Swift's presence in other ways. There are people in our city who are struggling to find a job, living in a region with some of the country's highest unemployment rates, even though employers say they've got job openings. The CBC's TJ Deer reports.
Windsor has grappled with high unemployment with rates among the highest in cities across the country. People who attended this job fair say there's not enough opportunities for them.
As a new grad, it becomes very difficult because they're mostly looking for people with probably over a year experience. And sometimes it becomes a little bit challenging to compete with people that have been out there longer than you have.
Windsor's unemployment rate dropped 0.2 percentage points for the month of May and now sits at 6.2%, according to Statistics Canada. That's still higher than the provincial rate, though, which spiked 0.6 points to 5.5%. Windsor's unemployment rate is the second highest among cities in the country, with only Peterborough coming in higher at 7.1%. Johnson had high expectations of finding work soon after graduating, having been told the PSW field is always looking for workers, but she couldn't tell when she was applying.
If there was a demand, obviously, you'll get the jobs, but the jobs are not there to be received at this time.
Tuesday's fair was held at Unifor Local 195's Action Center. It saw lines go all the way around the building. The union's president says the goal was to assist laid-off Syncreon members, but they tasted an appetite from other Windsor residents looking for work, despite Windsor's high unemployment rate, so they expanded their reach. The fair was run in partnership with the city's Employment and Training Services and Workforce Windsor Essex. When asked whether the current reality in Windsor Essex is a job shortage or a labor shortage, a Workforce Windsor Essex project manager said it's a bit of both.
There are job openings, and the labor shortage is also on the skill levels. And a lot of positions that are being offered are entry-level positions, and then some of them are higher up as well.
It's not just Windsor workers who are getting opportunities to attend job fairs. High school and post-secondary students had the chance to attend a fair this afternoon, organized by the South Essex Community Council. One of the organizers said interviews would happen on the spot. The council also organized a fair in Windsor called Farm to Fork, which hosted employers in the agri-food supply chain. The organizer said the increase in the number of youth looking for work is good to see.
The focus, I know, for the ministry where they're going is retention and getting adults jobs. So where we're trying to focus is making sure that youth are supported because those funds are less and less that are coming out.
Programs through the province are available for students to transition into the workforce and for employers to find youth workers that are available for work. The province says they've spent more than $197 million on youth employment since last year and are holding job fairs of their own. TJ Deer, CBC News, Windsor.
Meanwhile, Canada's unemployment rate has gone up for the first time in 9 months. It increased slightly to 5.2%. Statistics Canada says the economy unexpectedly shed just over 17,000 full-time jobs in May. Analysts had been forecasting about 23,000 new jobs would be created for the month. The drop is seen as a possible sign that the Bank of Canada's efforts to slow the economy and rein in inflation may be starting to work. People in Windsor had a chance to lend a helping hand this afternoon. The downtown mission hosted a cleanup day at their Ouellette location. It's part of an effort to improve the quality of life for those who live in the area.
You have to be extra careful with the tin foil, they said.
Yeah. I'm in recovery right now. I'm just trying to do better for myself, and I want to give back. Okay. I want to make change, and I want to, become a better person and become a worker and just do everything I can.
And how does garbage pickup help you with that?
I just know that, the butts, they're not good for the animals and they're not good for the environment, and just helping out cleaning up the butts is very important to me. And I'm trying to do better, and I want to help and stay positive, and I like everything that's going on here. And I'm just, I want to help as much as possible.
I love it. I love it to give back to the society. They've been good to us, so we need to be good to them, just to make sure the environment is clean and all that. Yeah, I love doing that. If you look around before we start doing it, you will see. And now that we've done a lot of cleanup, you'll see the difference.
And do you feel the difference?
Yeah, I can feel it. If you look around, you should be able to feel it also. I feel it. We just have to make sure that the environment is clean for their own safety and the safety of the community.
You're looking at a first in Amherstburg, a pride crosswalk unveiled this week. The rainbow colors painted to support members of the LGBTQ community. Plenty of people on hand in front of North Star High School. The ribbon cutting comes at a time when some members feel under threat, and as the federal government offers money to help keep pride events secure. Wendy Nicholson is the president of Windsor Essex Pride Fest. She says it felt amazing to be at the unveiling, but sees a change happening here in Canada.
You know, it was really cool. I was like, you know what? This is so nice to see smaller communities getting these crosswalks up, painted, and seeing the amount of people that come out to support it. It's great.
We know that states south of the border have been rolling back rights for people in the LGBTQ plus community, and even closer to home. You know, there was a recent incident in London of a pride flag being burned. Can you describe what the current climate is like for your community?
Oh, you know what? We over here, everyone was pretty much getting along and not really having a lot of, fight back on things. And then, yes, then the states happened, and their intolerance and bigotry, and I can go on with a whole list of names, seeped over here, and it woke up these intolerant people here, and it just seems to be going like a wildfire. It's like, wow, people, like, we're not asking for anything special. We're just asking to be treated equally, and, you know, let us live. And like, we want to do things for the community, but we get called names, and it's just not cool.
Premier Doug Ford recently met with healthcare leaders in Windsor Essex about ambulance services. It comes after the NDP called for an end to Code Blacks. A Code Black is when there's no ambulance available to respond to a 911 call. January to March, Windsor Essex has had almost 100 minutes with no available ambulances. The service had 800 minutes when it was in code red. That's when there are 2 or less ambulances available. The situation was declared an emergency late last year, and that led Essex Mayor Sherry Bondy to call for a full review of the local hospital system. Bondy was in the meeting with the Premier, and she says she's optimistic the Code Black situation will get better.
I think we had the right people at the table, and we're sharing information. You know, I sent MPP Anthony Liardi the report on the data. Our chief of EMS, Bruce Crowder, was there talking about how they're looking at the data, refining it, and troubleshooting. I do think our concerns were heard, and I think it's a great start. And I look forward to further collaborating to make sure that when people in Windsor Essex County need those critical services such as EMS, that EMS will be able to be there for them.
Let's take a quick look outside now. Getting closer to a clear blue sky after a week that saw Windsor dealing with some of the worst air quality in the world. Environment Canada lifting the air quality alert for our area today, but forest fires across the country continue to burn out of control. And the smoke we've seen in Windsor comes from Quebec and Northern Ontario, but it's not the only part of Canada burning. There are more than 80 active wildfires burning in British Columbia. One of the newest and most troubling has triggered an evacuation order near the town of Tumbler Ridge. More than 2,000 people have been told to leave. And as CBC's Lindsay Duncombe tells us, the fire also threatens a unique prehistoric conservation area.
About 4 kilometers from town, a wall of flame fanned by wind. The entire community of Tumbler Ridge, population 2,400, forced to flee. Angela Zimmer made the journey with her 3-year-old twin boys.
So I actually showed them where the smoke was and what that meant, that there's a big fire coming. And they did this on their own accord. They started calling it a monster. And the firefighters and the fire trucks are going to go fight the monster. And we have to leave.
One of 2 main routes in and out of the community closed. The flames are just too close. Evacuees found safety in Fort St. John, Chetwynd, and Dawson Creek.
It hits you, right? It hits home. It's devastating, right? It's, it hits you right in the heart, and it makes you sad to see it. It's scary, right? Knowing that it's this early in the season.
Wildfire season in British Columbia usually peaks in July and August. BC Premier David Eby is urging people in the province to be careful.
Conditions are very dry, and we expect that to continue, according to the expert advice we're receiving. And so please use caution so that we can try our best to avoid a catastrophic fire season here in the province.
Also at risk, precious artifacts. Tumbler Ridge is home to a UNESCO Global Geopark. 12,000 people a year visit the area to see dinosaur bones and fossilized footsteps. For now, the community is safe. Emergency officials posted this video. Deserted, smoky, strange, and increasingly familiar. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Vancouver.
It is the best day for Taylor Swift fans, but you need to be fearless if you're in Detroit tonight. Taylor Swift takes the stage at 8 p.m. for the first of 2 shows this weekend. And long story short, the area near Ford Field is a labyrinth. Posts on Snapchat showing that there's not much blank space at the outdoor merch area, and this is from earlier this afternoon. And just a few hours ago, on this side of the border, some Swifties are still without tickets. But a Windsor Public Library event brought them together to bond over their shared love for Taylor. CBC's Jennifer LaGrassa checked it out.
Here at Windsor's Bridgeview Public Library, Swifties have come together despite not getting tickets for her Eras Tour concert in Detroit, which is happening tonight and tomorrow. They are shaking it off, turning their Ticketmaster nightmare into a daydream by making friendship bracelets and singing their favorite Taylor songs.
So we had Taylor Swift over in Detroit, so I definitely wanted to pay homage to her in our Canadian way. It sucks because so many people missed out on getting tickets, and with the Ticketmaster fiasco, I just wanted to celebrate her in Canada and with any way we could to give fans something to look forward to even if they didn't have tickets.
And why do you like her?
Because I love her songs that she does. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me.
I'm definitely a big fan. One of the first, I think, albums I've ever listened to, of music ever, was the original Fearless. My mom had the CD and I would just listen to it on repeat, every night. My dad and I would try to be a verified fan to get the pre-sale back in November, but that didn't work out. And yesterday, Ticketmaster was doing, ticket drops, and I spent all day, my boyfriend spent all day, my dad spent all day waiting in the queues, and we couldn't get them. We were so close, so it's definitely been a roller coaster. She really means a lot to me. She's my favorite artist, so I'm really glad she's here, but I wish that it was easier to get tickets.
But what is it like not going to the show but still kind of hanging out with fellow Swifties?
It's fun to know that, obviously, because it's fun to, meet other people in the area who do like Taylor Swift, which is cool. I think she should come to Toronto.
And maybe even Windsor directly.
Hopefully Windsor. I think I'd have a better chance of getting tickets if she did.
Even though these fans won't be going to the Detroit shows, and there's currently no Canadian tour dates scheduled for Taylor Swift's Eras Tour, there is clearly no bad blood with these fans. Also, just a heads up, there's a lot of events happening in Detroit this weekend, so whether you are going to one of Taylor's shows or you're going to another event, you'll want to keep an eye on that border traffic. Jennifer LaGrassa, CBC News, Windsor.
Take another live look outside there. We have another sunny day expected tomorrow and then some showers coming after that. Colette Kennedy will be here after the break to tell us more about weather. Stay with us. If you don't have those coveted Taylor Swift tickets, there's still a lot on the go in Windsor this weekend. Windsor's International Film Festival is back. They've got outdoor screenings happening all weekend. And the best part, they're free. You can find the full schedule on WIF's website. And tonight, there's a screening of July Talk, Love Lives Here. It follows the band as they set up a drive-in show during the pandemic. The director says the documentary shows a community rising up to a challenge.
This show in particular brought together so many people and creative people and music fans, and just the importance, of community and live music. It really felt like a time where you could kind of, let go and just be together and to be in a space that was safe, but also somewhere where you felt at home. And that's music.
Colette Kennedy joins us now for a look at weather. Colette, some relief today as that air quality statement lifted for us, but talk us through what we can expect in the days ahead.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I'm going to be starting here, Katerina, is with our smoke forecast. And we know, yes, we breathe a little bit easier here. We've got that air quality health index into lower, some cases in the province bordering towards moderate, but still in that region. And keeping in mind oranges and reds and even some of the purples are where it's really intense smoke. And by the way, our friends down there in New York City getting a bit of a breather, literally, as well today. So we do have some improvement. Even if there's some here, it doesn't mean it's necessarily all at the surface or bad at the surface, as we know. And that's why the statement has been lifted. We're going to see this vacillate a little bit here with the wind changes, and it comes off some of the different plumes. So there's still some in the atmosphere, which means with the sunshine tomorrow, there may still be some hazy skies at times, but that's when it's in the upper atmosphere. And then look how we go. These are the colors we want to see, the blues. We go into this as we head into Sunday, and we really see that more significant wind change. So it's pushing it back to other communities, it's true, but away from southern Ontario. At the moment, this is what we have near the surface. So there's certainly some areas into Michigan and a little bit around, but we're seeing those readings still falling in that low area for the criteria. So some showers today into eastern Ontario, some of the cloud deck, even just that cloud deck has a bit of moisture in it and can kind of help. And I don't just mean helping with our skies, but help where the fires originate. In Quebec, northeastern Ontario, it provides a little bit of moisture that can kind of keep things down there in terms of those fires really flaring. So we're doing okay here in terms of dry conditions and just being able to enjoy yourself. No problems tonight. Daytime highs today were in the mid-20s, and we're even looking now at our temperatures still holding very close to that. So really pleasant evening. Winds aren't terribly strong either, but we have some much needed rain coming our way. And so what's going to happen? Beautiful day tomorrow. Warm as well. And then as we get into Saturday night into Sunday, we start to see some isolated showers developing, and then it becomes more organized and even getting into some heavier rain I anticipate for the second half of the day on Sunday, but we even keep that shower risk beyond Sunday, well into Monday and into next week. Winds, it's not that they're strong, it's that I want you to look at the arrows in that direction, that west to southwest. That's what we want to be seeing right now with this situation. We've had a lot of northerly winds pulling that smoke in our direction. So good to see this as we go into Saturday, and it carries on, like I say, for the second half of the weekend and beyond. Overnight temperatures tonight, around 14 degrees for that low. We may dip to 13 at some point. But I said it was going to be warm tomorrow. Here's where we're going, up to 29 degrees. Just a really great Saturday. And then Sunday, the wet weather comes in, and notice the temperature slide in the other direction, Katerina, below seasonal.
Sounds good. Thanks for that, Colette.
You're welcome.
When we come back, breaking news about Special Rapporteur David Johnston. Stay with us. Breaking news this hour. Former Governor General David Johnston is resigning as special rapporteur on foreign interference. Johnston says he will be stepping down no later than the end of June after delivering a brief final report. Prime Minister Trudeau had appointed Johnston in March to look into reports of Chinese meddling in Canadian politics. The opposition parties had been calling for a public inquiry, and Johnston advised against it, saying a public inquiry would not be a useful way to deal with what is almost exclusively classified information. Opposition parties also accused Johnston of bias because of past associations with the Trudeau family and the Trudeau Foundation. In his resignation letter today, Johnston said his objective was to help build trust in democratic institutions. But he says, given the highly partisan atmosphere around my appointment and work, my leadership has had the opposite effect. The U.S. Justice Department says it will seek a speedy trial for Donald Trump. The former president is facing dozens of new criminal charges. They're related to his handling of secret and confidential documents. The CBC's Chris Reyes is following the story.
I just want to tell you, I'm an innocent man. I did nothing wrong. And we will fight this out just like we've been fighting for 7 years.
A defiant Donald Trump took to social media after learning he'd become the first former president ever to be criminally charged by the government he once headed. The former president is facing 37 felony charges related to his handling of classified documents at his Florida estate and other locations. They include violations of the Espionage Act, obstruction, and false statements.
It's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax, just like Russia, just like the fake dossier was a hoax.
The special counsel in charge of the investigation had this to say.
Our laws that protect national defense information are critical for the safety and security of the United States, and they must be enforced. Violations of those laws put our country at risk.
In March, Trump made history as the first U.S. president to face criminal state charges. Now he's facing federal charges with the possibility of prison time if convicted.
The walls around former President Trump are closing in from a legal perspective. While this is a serious and somber occasion, it's actually an example of one of the positives of America, accountability to the rule of law, even at the highest levels.
There's been an immediate and strong rebuke of the indictment from Republicans, including his challengers for the Republican nomination.
I had hoped the Department of Justice would see its way clear to resolve these issues with the former president without moving forward with charges.
2 lawyers representing Donald Trump resigned this morning, offering no explanation for their resignation beyond a statement saying this is a logical moment. The new lawyer heading his legal team has represented Trump before. A Trump aide is also facing charges. Walt Nauta was allegedly involved in moving the classified material at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. Trump is expected to be arraigned in person at a Miami federal courthouse next Tuesday. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson surprised the country today with the news he is quitting politics, at least for now. The shock announcement came after an investigation determined Johnson misled Parliament with his testimony about celebrations that broke pandemic gathering rules. Johnson said he hadn't done anything wrong and the investigation was out to get him. The former PM was elected as Britain's leader in 2019, but forced out by his party less than 3 years later. He had been sitting as a member of Parliament until today. And we've spent a lot of time talking about geese this week, but it is time to shift gears to giant ducks. These 2 delighted folks as they made their way across Victoria Harbour in Hong Kong. The artwork is called Double Ducks, and the Dutch artist who created them hopes that they bring the city luck. The birds are about 18 meters high, that's about 59 feet. And if the idea seems a little familiar, the same artist was behind Rubber Duck, which was created in 2007 and went on a world tour for several years. That is it for CBC Windsor News. For more, go to our website, cbc.ca/Windsor, and you can always find us on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching. Have a good night and a great weekend.